And what is going on, guys? How y'all doing? Hope you're liking the little do I did tonight. This is the Club of the Man 1993, and we are here for the 38th edition of my Royal Rumble recap and review series. As of course we do both the women's, which we did previously in the previous video, and the men's Rumble video we're doing now as well, to do my retro recap and review of last year's men's 2021 Royal Rumble match. First disclaimer, I do apologize. I know the audio from the intro on the women's one was very funky and whatnot. It's because my computer just upgraded and I forgot that my preferences were reset for when I exported the intros and whatnot. So they exported as like higher resolution MOV files, which was apparently a little too strong for OBS, but it's fine. I made sure I did the men's at the MP4, so we're fixed with that. But let's roll in and let's talk about the men's Royal Rumble from 2021. Of course, like the women's, it took place last year on January 31st, 2021 at the WWE Thunderdome at Tropicana Field in St. Petersburg, Florida, home of the Tampa Bay Rays baseball team. Here's the thing, watching this Rumble a second time, because there's some Rumbles where watch it the first time, you're hot for it. Watch this in the second time, you're thinking, your opinion may change. I'm like, this may be good, may not be quite as good as it did before. Last year's men's Rumble was good. It wasn't. I definitely was not as excited about it as it was for the women's, because the women's I enjoyed, especially because of Bianca's moment and just the people who became stars in that Rumble. Like we had Bianca Belair have the excellent number 3 entrant performance. Rhea Ripley, who was runner-up, was excellent there as well. And a couple other good spots, a couple other good surprises, and a couple little funky little things. The men's Rumble was just, it was good. I feel like I would have more so preferred solid, but there was a couple moments in there that was like, nice. I like that. Like it wasn't like, oh my goodness, must see. Well, one thing that was kind of must see in this Rumble, but I will still say I gave it a little bit of the same grade I gave it last year, because I still felt that, although I thought it was just solid, there was a couple good moments in this Rumble. So I gave it the grade that I gave it, which, early, spoiler, I gave this Rumble a B. It was a good Rumble. I'm fine with the winner. Felt that they could have gone with somebody else. I'm fine with who they went with, though, in the end. Even though the story leading to the match at Wrestlemania was weird, it ended up being a match of the year candidate, that triple threat match between Roman Reigns, Daniel Bryan, and of course Edge. But let's talk about this Rumble. So it was announced ahead of time that Edge and Randy Orton were going to be number 1 and number 2 entrants to the Rumble. Now, this was kind of the conclusion to their year-long feud that started when Edge had returned in the 2020 Royal Rumble. They kind of started a feud with Edge and Randy Orton, led to the last man standing match at WrestleMania 36. Then they had the greatest wrestling match ever at Backlash that year. That's when Edge had tore his tricep, and this is actually his return match back. So this kind of was concluding the feud between Randy Orton and Edge, even though they had their blow-off match the following night on Raw. Even though it felt like the feud was a little bit backwards, because it went from last man standing to regular wrestling match to not even a pay-per-view match. Well, of course, they do technically have the Rumble, of course, but the actual one-on-one match they had was the regular match on the main event of Raw. So I'm like, okay, but they started off the match, and of course, Orton barely came out, and Edge already was just chucking it up the ramp to beat down Orton. And of course, they had just personal rivalry going on, of course, as well. But they started off, of course, the match at numbers 1 and 2. Number 3, Sami Zayn, the Great Liberator, came out. I'm surprised Sami Zayn was in there as long as he was. I thought he would have been taken as a joke, but it seemed like for a bit that Randy Orton was going to have, a little bit of some company. Because Sami stayed in there for For a while, he lasted. I can't remember how long it was he lasted. I don't have the number in front of me of exactly how long he lasted, but he was in there for quite a bit. He was there until the number 10 entrant. He was the second person to eliminate from the match, but he was the he did last in there longer than I thought. Number 4 was Mustafa Ali. Of course, now we have the whole hashtag free Ali chant, as he did request his release from WWE, but they denied it. But Mustafa Ali came into the match at number 4. Now, of course, this is right when he just recently had turned heel. Well, a couple months after he turned heel and was the leader of Retribution. And again, even though Retribution absolutely sucked, I keep always saying that Mustafa Ali was still cutting some excellent promos. He tried so hard to make it work, but unfortunately, it just didn't. But he was still playing that role where he obviously was trying to take out like legends and this and that. So when he came in, there was Randy Orton and Sami Zayn teaming up with him, and they were trying to take out Edge. This was also in the midst when they were teasing, and I can't believe they didn't do this. They were teasing a feud with him and Kofi Kingston. And the feud made sense because Kofi Kingston was the one that kind of took his spot 2 years earlier in 2019 when he went down with that injury, and Kofi Kingston took his spot in that gauntlet match, and that's what heated up Kofi Mania. Because remember, there was 3 rumors. Well, besides what they ended up going with for the WWE title match at WrestleMania 35, it ended up being, of course, Kofi Kingston and Daniel Bryan because of Kofi Mania. But first they're going to do Daniel Bryan and Kevin Owens, which is why they're bringing back Kevin Owens versus the Babyface in 2019. But then the reason why they were giving him a big push when he first came over to SmackDown at the beginning of 2019, they were going to give it to Mustafa Ali because they wanted him to be champion heading into the Saudi Arabia show that they were going to be doing. But then, of course, no, they flow. But that would have been an excellent match at WrestleMania last year. But they pulled the freaking trick. They pulled the plug on it, which I don't get why. But he came number 4. Number 5 was Jeff Hardy. They played Jeff Hardy, of course, dirty here, as they did. But his last run on Raw, before he got drafted over to SmackDown before getting released, but his last run on Raw, oh my gosh, did they play Jeff Hardy dirty. He was the stinking jobber. And now Finn Balor basically is apparently the Jeff Hardy of Raw right now, from what I hear. Because Vince sees absolutely nothing in him, just a guy to put over mid-card talent. Yay. He was number 5. He only lasted 2 minutes because Dolph Ziggler came in number 6 and immediately eliminates Jeff Hardy like he was a nobody. But also, Edge and Orton were still going at it. Edge did attack Orton with a steel chair, and Orton was taken backstage as Edge had kayfabe injured his knee, but Orton was technically never eliminated. So Orton was gone, but we both keep reminding yourselves he was not eliminated. But this is where here's the only thing I will say about Edge in this Rumble match. Spoiler alert, he won the match. I just feel like other than after when Orton got out, and towards the end where they kind of teased a back and forth match with him and Daniel Bryan, which I wish they would have done that one-on-one. If Bryan would have stayed a little bit longer, I think that would have been an excellent match for SummerSlam. Daniel Bryan and Edge. I think, and also teased him and AJ Styles, I remember at one point also. But other than that, I kind of forgot after a while that Edge was in this match. He started at number 1 and lasted all the way, but other than him fighting Orton and him fighting Orton at the beginning and whatnot, and a few little teases here and there, he didn't really do too much after Orton got taken out of the match. But so I'll get to my more thoughts on that towards the end. But Hardy got eliminated by Ziggler. Number 7 was former Rumble winner Shinsuke Nakamura. He had just recently turned babyface, at this time. Number 8 was Carlito. It was good to see Carlito, and again, he looked great. He looked in really good shape too. He did stay for a little bit of a treat of a one-off match. I think in a tag match the following night on Raw, which was cool to see, but that was it. But man, he looked great. He was in excellent shape. I think he got into the ring and he had like a stare down with Nakamura. I think Nakamura like spit on his apple or something. I can't remember what it was. But again, he looked excellent. Number 9 was Xavier Woods, of course, who would start brawling with Mustafa Ali. Number 10 was Big E. And Big E and Sami Zayn were kind of just like in the midst, like just at the end of a feud as Big E had won, was the Intercontinental Champion at this time. He had won the title off of Sami Zayn at the 2020 Christmas episode of SmackDown, or Christmas Eve. It was Christmas Day. He won not SmackDown, Intercontinental. The Intercontinental Championship, he won it on Christmas Day. But New Day teamed up and eliminated Big E. Kofi Kingston was not in this Rumble match, by the way. John Morrison was at number 11. Johnny Drip Drip, of course, but he's gone now. Mustafa Ali would eliminate Xavier Woods, and he would taunt him, and he would say something about Kofi, which pissed off Big E, and Big E just destroyed Mustafa Ali and threw him out as well, so that was it for him. Number 12 was Ricochet. Number 13 was Elias. Back when Elias still existed. Now, who the heck knows where Elias is? He wasn't even drafted at this past draft. He's still a free agent. We haven't seen him since he was shown Elias is dead with his tombstone. So, I don't know. He's probably going to get released. I'm surprised he didn't get released yet. He was number 13. And he eliminated Carlito. And I'm like, wasn't sure how I felt about that. Number 14, though. Damian Priest. This was basically, you can kind of say this was his call-up, because he was made official on Monday Night Raw the following night, because this started up the build to his feud with Bad Bunny, who, this is his first appearance on the show. Bad Bunny and him would team up to take on Miz and Morrison at WrestleMania, at WrestleMania 37 last year. Excellent tag match, by the way. That was a really good match. And remember also, Vince McMahon basically threatened Damian Priest's push if he didn't get Bad Bunny over. I thought that was just very, unnecessary for him to do. But at least it worked out in the end. And Priest would get an elimination by eliminating Elias. Number 15 was The Miz. He had a backstage altercation with Bad Bunny, who wouldn't want to do business with him. So Miz came out and destroyed Bad Bunny's DJ set. And at first, at the time, I'm just like, okay, this is stupid. But I'll give him credit. It led to a great match. So I can't really diss this now. But he destroyed the set. But then Miz and Morrison were trying to team up. But then Bad Bunny did come out and distract the Miz. And off of that, Damian Priest was able to eliminate both The Miz and Morrison. And after they got eliminated, Bad Bunny climbed to the top rope and did like a crossbody to take them out. So that was obviously a tease at the time. I wouldn't have thought of it, but that was a tease for their future WrestleMania match, which again was excellent. It was a very good underrated tag match for sure. There's that. Number 16 was Matt Riddle. They gave Matt Riddle a lot of time in this match. I was surprised. I'm glad they did, of course, though, even though, again, they've definitely, really made his character much more corny, which has made me a little less of a fan of him. But he's maintaining something right now. I'll put it that way. Number 17 was my pick to win, Daniel Bryan. I'm sorry. I mean, all respect. I'm happy. I'm fine that Edge won. Edge already won a Rumble, though. Bryan never won a Rumble. I really wanted to see Bryan win this Rumble. At least they gave him a solid performance, though. Unlike 2015's. They gave him a great performance in this match. He was number 17. Number 18. Now, when Dolph Ziggler came in at number 6, they announced that it was his 14th Rumble appearance. The second most behind 17 by the now Hall of Famer, is he still mayor of Knoxville, Tennessee? Glenn Jacobs, either mayor or former mayor of Knoxville, Tennessee, but Hall of Famer, who was inducted last year, Kane, had the most appearances with 17. Make it 18, because number 18 was Kane, who came out to as a surprise appearance, which was cool to see. He came in and he was only in there for a couple minutes, but it was an effective couple minutes. He eliminated Ziggler, and he also eliminated Ricochet. And when he finally took people down, left standing at one point was both him and Daniel Bryan. And yes, it was the Thunderdome. Yes, it was piped in noises, but basically they teased the hug it out from back in 2012. And sure enough, yes, they hugged it out. As of course, Bryan Danielson and Glenn Jacobs in real life are really good friends. But of course, the Team Hell No reunion did not last too long, as Kane took Bryan, choke slammed him down. But then Damian Priest had a stare down with Kane. Imagine Kane in his prime. Him and Damian Priest. Well, with the Archer, that's when Priest was the Archer of Infamy. Now he has this, like, split personality character, which, it seems to be working, but it was unnecessary to change him from the Archer of Infamy. And that theme song, too. Oh, God, I love that theme song. They had to get rid of it. But, they had a little bit of a tease, and he brawled with Kane, and Damian Priest eliminated Kane. So I'm like, okay, I'll take that. So that was good. Priest had a very solid performance in this Rumble. If I'm not mistaken, there wasn't really a lot of eliminations by many people in this match. If I'm not mistaken, I think he was at a 3-way tie for first for the most eliminations in this Rumble match with 4. It was him, Big E, and where's my notes? And Seth Rollins. They all had 4. But yeah, he eliminated Kane. King Corbin came in at number 19. Yeah, this is King Corbin before he became Bum Corbin, the most interesting character he's had since being the Lone Wolf. And now he's Happy Corbin! Yeah, I hate that character. But he eliminated Nakamura when he came in. Number 20 was Otis, when him and Chad Gable were a babyface tag team just starting out before they turned heel. But this was the old Otis, I think this was before Tucky got released, but this, of course, him and Tucker were split up by now. But this was still Steaks and Winks Otis, and long distance relationship Otis and Mandy Rose, if I'm not mistaken, also. But he didn't last long. Corbin eliminated him as well, which sucked. Number 21 was Dominic Mysterio. This is at a time where the Mysterios were kind of in a feud, I remember, with King Corbin, and Dominic eliminated King Corbin. I'm glad they let Dominic get an elimination. Unfortunately, it didn't last as long, as number 22 was the Almighty, and at the time he was United States Champion, but we didn't know at the time he was going to get a push as the WWE Champion, get a 6-month reign, which was a good reign. Bobby Lashley came number 22, and he just wrecked shop at first. He chucked Dominic like way out of the ring. Like he slammed him out with authority. And he also eliminated Damian Priest as well. And then of course we had like a tease of like a fired up hype of Big E and Bobby Lashley. They went at it for a bit. Of course, they had like a little mini feud later in the year when Big E cashed in on Bobby Lashley to win the WWE title. The matches they had were fine. Definitely not as good as they could have been, but this is a nice little tease between the two of them back then. Number 23 was Hurricane Helms. I didn't feel this one. I don't know. I mean, he was in the 2018 one, which fine, but I don't know. Not the best surprise to me. I wasn't really too excited to see Hurricane Helms again, who was eliminated by a team up of Big E and Bobby Lashley at the time. Number 24, to me, my favorite moment of the match. No doubt about it. Number 24 was Christian. Was a very, very nice surprise. And I don't know if Edge, because remember, again, you probably forgot by now, but Edge was still in this match. But I don't know if Edge knew Christian was going to be in this match or not. I did listen to the Talk is Jericho podcast with Christian, but I can't remember if he said he knew or not. But the emotion on Edge's face, and then basically, Christian got some offense in. And this was his first match in 7 years. The last time he wrestled, I believe, besides that non-sanctioned tease like segment he had on an episode of Raw in the summer with Randy Orton. This is his first actual wrestling match in 7 years. And the last match, remember, he won a number one contendership match to fight Big E for the Intercontinental Championship back in 2014, but then he got hurt and never came back. But I remember he had some moments he fought through. Edge, of course, fought through it as well. And then it came down to just the two of them standing, and they hugged it out. That was an excellent moment. I saw that, I'm like, oh wow, this will be great. They'll bring Edge and Christian back, maybe give them a run with the tag titles or something, because, you know, this is something you never thought you'd see again. 1 month later, Christian Cage is debuting in AEW. So, I mean, okay, it's worked out for Christian. He's had a great run in AEW so far. But I will say this. If Edge ever runs out of options in WWE, I still think he should go to AEW and team with Christian. Heck, if Jeff goes to AEW, since Jeff Hardy was released, if he goes to AEW now, who knows? I don't know what the heck's going on with Jeff Hardy. But if Jeff goes to AEW, have Edge go there too, and literally I reunite both teams and have them have another match. Like, literally, Edge and Christian was not supposed to happen again. Which is why I was a little disappointed to see Christian left, but then again, if he would have stayed in WWE, I don't think they would have given him the opportunity. But that still my favorite moment of the match is seeing Edge and Christian reunite, which was great to see. And Christian lasted towards the end. He was in the final 5. But he was number 24, and then everybody basically teamed up and eliminated Bobby Lashley. Number 25 was AJ Styles. That's when him and Big Omos were still a team. He definitely, Omos saved AJ from being eliminated a couple times. Number 26 was Rey Mysterio. Big E was then eliminated by outside interference from Omos. Number 27 was Sheamus. And then Rey Mysterio was then eliminated from outside interference by Omos. And I believed Omos had stopped Rey from doing the 619 on AJ. So obviously it looked like that AJ was going to be a threat to win because Omos was basically, protecting him from being eliminated and, and getting other people out as well. Number 28 was Cesaro. And I remember, this is when they started giving Cesaro kind of like a singles push. He just turned babyface because he had just re-signed his new contract. And I remember thinking Cesaro was a favorite to win this Rumble match. I'm thinking, what if they gave it to Cesaro? They did not, but they gave him another WrestleMania moment with that excellent match he had with Seth Rollins, that UFO moment he had. Gave him a nice victory. They did give him a title shot. Yes, I wanted more from that push, but that was basically more than WWE was ever going to give us in the first place. So I'll take that moment at least and enjoy it. But unfortunately, it was not the case. Cesaro did not win the Rumble match, but he definitely was teased as a favorite to win in the build. They did tease a reunion with him and Sheamus in the bar, but nope, didn't happen. Cesaro just took it away. Number 29 was Seth Rollins. Yeah, it was weird. Well, this was Cesaro when Seth Rollins returned, as he had went on hiatus when Becky was getting ready to have the baby, because they had him get eliminated in the Survivor Series match with him to sacrifice himself. This is his return. It was weird. He returned here with his old Messiah theme song, but then like a week and a half later, he returns to SmackDown. He has his old Burn It Down theme song. But then at WrestleMania, he debuts his Visionary theme song. So it went back and forth. But he came back, and I remember hearing rumors. They almost brought Seth back as a babyface and had to win this Rumble. They're going to go on the story of how, him becoming a father kind of changed him. When in reality, no offense, Seth Rollins, I still love Seth Rollins as a wrestler, but as a person, he dug his own grave as a babyface. I don't think Seth Rollins could ever be a believable babyface again after the example he set on Twitter while he was world champion. No offense. I just don't think he could pull it off as a babyface again. But he did return. And of course, he gets back in the ring, and Cesaro just BAM! Gives a vicious uppercut. Kind of foreshadowing a little bit of their future feud they had and the future WrestleMania match they had. But man, he just pounded one on him when he came in that match. They went back and forth for a bit when he got in the match. And number 30, Remember this guy? Remember, Braun? I'm not finished with you. Man, yeah, I forgot about Braun Strowman. And I still can't believe he got released. I still can't believe he got released. But he came out at number 30. He first eliminated Strowman, then he eliminated Sheamus, and then when he first came in, he wanted to toss out AJ Styles, but then Omos caught him, and they put him back in the ring. And instead, and then whenever Strowman was about to eliminate Styles again, he saw where Omos was turned around and threw him out another rope, which was smart. I remember when I saw it and I thought, maybe they'll do AJ Styles and Braun Strowman at WrestleMania because of, Omos. I would have been interested in that. Much better than the build that they would have done when they ended up doing Braun Strowman. They did him and Shane McMahon in a whole storyline of Shane McMahon just thought Braun Strowman was stupid. Oh, that was so terrible. So terrible. Oh my gosh. Braun. At least the match was good. But, like I said, Braun Strowman, when he was in WWE, to me it's like they didn't want him to be in the spot that he was in. They needed him to be in the spot he was in. Like, the moment they didn't need him anymore, they released him. Which I felt bad. Because, again, he was a WWE-made project. Yet they still didn't push him the way they should have. Or they did whenever he had, no momentum left whatsoever. But he went in and eliminated 3 people. We also had a good sequence with Daniel Bryan and Matt Riddle also, which that had an excellent kind of back and forth sequence for a bit, which was good. But then Seth Rollins, who hung around the outside of the ring for a bit, came in and eliminated Daniel Bryan. When they did that, I thought at the time they were teasing a match with Daniel Bryan and Seth Rollins for a pay-per-view, because, again, I've seen those two wrestle before, but they never wrestled one-on-one on pay-per-view. That was a pay-per-view match I wanted to see. We never got it, but we did see a couple good showdowns with them. But then Bryan got eliminated by Rollins, and then we also have Seth Rollins and Matt Riddle, who Matt Riddle had said some stuff about Rollins on Twitter. They had a good sequence, but then Matt Riddle got eliminated by Seth Rollins. I think Riddle was the final 6, so again, they gave him a lot of time, and he had a solid performance. To me, I think I remember seeing Riddle stand out more than Edge, believe it or not. Actually, I think whenever Edge and Christian did that hug, Riddle kind of walked over to him and was like, "What's up, bros?" And tried to chime in with them or something like that. But now at the time, you think it's the Final 4. Because at the time, the Final 4, and I was going to do a real Final 4, but I'm going to do a Final 5. But see, remember who the 5th person would be. Because at first, it was Braun Strowman, Seth Rollins, Edge, and Christian. At this point, I pretty much figured Edge was going to win. And that's why I'm thinking, okay, I think Edge is winning this. Which, of course, he would go on to do so. Seth Rollins tried to get Braun Strowman to work with him, but it didn't work out. But the reason why I'm saying Final 5, not Final 4, is because Braun Strowman and Christian literally both eliminated at the same time. It were eliminated at the same time. And then they basically eliminated each other. And then Edge eliminated Seth Rollins. But then we forgot, Randy Orton was never eliminated when he got taken out of the match earlier. He came back in, tried to do an RKO on Edge, but Edge reversed it and tossed out Orton. And Edge goes a distance, wins the Rumble from number 1. Only the second person to do so, which, cool? Like I said, though, it's just, the first portion, you felt his presence. Other than a tease like him and AJ Styles, him and Daniel Bryan, for most of the match, you kind of forgot he was there. In the first part, yes, they were working on, it was Orton teamed up with a bunch of guys like Sami Zayn and Mustafa Ali. They were trying to get Edge out. But after Orton was taken out of the match, you kind of forgot he was there. But, and again, I still think Bryan should have won the Rumble match. This was still fine. It was not the end of the world. I was happy for Edge. I just think they could have gone with someone else better. But to me, it did completely. It wasn't a horrible pick either. Now, I remember leading up to this, I was worried they were going to do Edge and Orton for the world title at WrestleMania. They could have done Edge and Orton at WrestleMania again to finish their feud. I would have been fine with that, but I didn't want the title involved, which, thank goodness it wasn't. They ended up having, Edge, tease which of the champions he was going to face. He went to Raw, confronted Drew McIntyre when he was champion. Of course, McIntyre would drop the title to The Miz, and The Miz would drop it to Lashley. We would get Lashley and McIntyre in a very good opening match for night one of WrestleMania. He also went to NXT to confront Finn Balor, who was NXT champion at the time. But that would have been an interesting one if they went with that. But of course they were going to do Roman Reigns and Edge, but then there was some weird story how Daniel Bryan got involved in it. And yes, I do understand why people think that Bryan kind of getting himself in was weird, but I can't take away the fact that that triple threat match in the main event of night 2, Roman Reigns, Daniel Bryan, and Edge, I can't take away how phenomenal that match was. That was an excellent, excellent match. Yes, I wish the story with Edge, being upset about Bryan getting in the match was a little off, and I still don't like how they basically ignored the history with Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan. The match was still great, though. I'm not going to take away from that. But, yeah, this Rumble match, again, it was good. Like I said, if it wasn't for a couple moments, especially Edge and Christian, and a couple, little other matches they teased, Daniel Bryan and Riddle, Edge and Riddle, Edge and Styles, a couple other things they did in the match, I'd probably give this just a B-. It was a solid Rumble, but those couple moments bumped it up to a B for me. The match was 58 minutes and 30 seconds. Of course, since they started out at numbers 1 and 2, even though he was gone for most of the match, Edge and Randy Orton had the longest time, 58:30, of course. And then Edge won the match. And then the most eliminations was a 4-way tie with Big E, Damian Priest, and Seth Rollins. But fun Rumble match. Fun, not the best, but I enjoyed it. But there you go, guys. That's my retro recap and review on the men's 2021 Royal Rumble match. Guys, what were your thoughts on the men's 2021 Royal Rumble match? Leave your thoughts down in the comment section below, and be sure as always to slap a like on the video, subscribe for more content to my channel, and follow me on Twitter at DemandAir93. Be sure to also give us a love to my John Moxley being a hero video as well if you can too. But that's it, guys. I'm checking out. I'll see you all later. Have a great rest of your night. Enjoy the Rumble matches this week. I'm going to try to do live reactions for those. And I'll catch you all later. Peace out, everybody.
No